Welcome to our webinar, Academic Success at Texas Tech. We are excited to have all of you joining us today. My name is Christine Self with Parent and Family Relations, and joining me are Patrick Bone with the Learning Center and Tracy Givens from the Undergraduate Writing Center. This webinar is part of our Red Raider Family webinar series, where we share information on topics of interest to parents, families, and supporters of our students. We hope this webinar will help you better understand some of the excellent academic success resources that your student can access here at Texas Tech. As you can see on the screen, we have some upcoming webinars on topics like living on campus and finishing touches planned this summer and early fall. We plan to keep the webinar to about 30 minutes or so. If there's time at the end, we'll open it up for questions using the Zoom Q&A feature. So in the meantime, please feel free to type in your questions throughout the presentation. We will get those answered for you at the end. We are recording this session and posting it to our website so that you'll be able to review it again later or share with others. We'll also email the recording link to the email you used when you registered for the webinar. So let's go ahead and begin. I'll turn it over to Patrick Bone.
Good afternoon, all. Thank you for taking the time to join us today. As Dr. Self said, my name is Patrick Bond. I'm the director here at the Learning Center and Supplemental Instruction Programs at Texas Tech. Today, I'm here to introduce you all to the two academic programs that we're really known for and your students have access to. Both of our programs through the Learning Center and Supplemental Instruction rely on peer-to-peer learning, which is an extremely effective and efficient way for students to retain information that in their classes and what they're studying for. So I want to first focus on the Learning Center and its specifics before I get to the next part. So the Learning Center is all about peer tutoring. And so if you leave today with anything, just kind of make sure that you equate that to. At the bottom there, you can see a QR code that if you want, you can follow along with your phones and you can kind of look at the website and kind of see it through there as we're going through these different slides. But again, we're all about drop-in peer tutoring. We offer in-person tutoring during the fall and spring semesters here, which is the bulk of our tutors. We have about 70 tutors employed for the fall and the spring semesters that cover quite a few subjects and classes across campus. We do offer some online tutoring. In the fall, it will be from 2 to 5, Monday through Friday. So that gives students an alternative if they happen to be in class, or if it's a little bit more convenient for them to get some tutoring help that way. The cool thing about the Learning Center and tutoring is that it's student-driven sessions. And so there's no appointment that has to be made. Students just show up voluntarily with whatever questions and whatever time that they have. So if a student of yours has one question and they want to be in and out within 5 minutes, they can be. They just come in, bring their questions, work with a tutor, and then they can leave. Or you could be here for 5 hours, or, it doesn't have to be one extreme to the next, but, we do have students who are here for several hours working on homework problems. And if something comes up, they can go ahead and turn to a tutor that they've been assigned to and ask questions or guidance or just clarifications. Our tutors are academically successful undergraduates here at Texas Tech, minimum 3.5 GPA. Usually we're at the 3.8, 3.9 average for every semester. And each tutor can help in at least 4 different courses. Sometimes that's 4 courses within the same major, like mechanical engineering, or if a student is earlier in their degree program, they might be able to help in a chemistry class, 2 calculus courses, and then in a 4th class. Some of our tutors can do up to 12 courses. It's really what they've done as far as receiving an A in a class and what they feel comfortable in regarding the material. So last year we had about 65 tutors that covered 115 plus courses. We're probably going to be aiming for at least that, if not 70 to 75 tutors, to branch out into other subjects in classes that maybe we haven't been able to help students in the past for. Another unique thing about our location is we are a designated snack spot location, which is a partnership with our friends from the Red Raider Food Pantry, and they provide our students with snacks, some chips, some some Nutri-Grain bars, things like that, that if a student's in here, they can get up and grab a snack and go back to working with their tutor, so they don't have to leave and go get food and come back. It's just something, it's a nice little service that they provide, and we've been lucky enough to be one of the spots that they help out with that. In addition to tutoring, if your student doesn't have any specific questions and they just want to come in and use this as a study space, they can. Some students prefer the library, some students like their room, some students like to work at a friend's house, but we give them this opportunity. Some need to get out of their room to kind of surround themselves in an atmosphere of academically focused students, and they like to put that here, come here and utilize that time. We do have a small computer lab. Even though most students nowadays have some sort of device, whether it's their phone, we still have that in case a student doesn't have access to one of those or their battery dies, that they can come in and check their schedule or look at anything else or work on homework assignments that they need to have. Next slide, please. I wanted to show you an example of what the course listing is. If any of you guys use the QR code to jump to our website, if you scroll down to the bottom, there's a box that says course listing. This is an example from last semester, and this is just from accounting to chemistry. So this is maybe a third of the classes that we have. A student would go on there to our website to see if the class that they're in or any of the classes that they are currently enrolled in has a tutor assigned. So they would use this to see which tutors that we have, and then we'll talk about the schedule next. But I wanted to show you some examples here between certain classes, maybe in animal sciences, where there's fewer students enrolled, across the university where we may only have one or two tutors available, versus a class like chemistry 1307 where we have anywhere from 10 to 15 tutors available, because so many students have to take that class regardless of their major. And it's a difficult class, and so students have questions that they may not be able to answer within the confines of the class period or right after, or have time to meet with the professor. This gives them an opportunity to come and meet with a tutor, to ask those questions, to work on those homework assignments. The next slide is an example of our partial schedule. Again, this would have 75, as we get closer to the beginning of the semester, we would have about 75 tutors on here. The student would use the course listing to find a tutor's name and then refer to the class or to the tutor schedule here to see when they could come in and get that help. And so we try to space out the availability of our tutors. For chemistry, we'd like to have some available in the morning, in the early afternoon, the mid-afternoon, and then into the early evening, so students have multiple options and multiple times during the day where they can receive help from a tutor. On here, you can also see time that's designated as the online tutoring. So again, some of our tutors predominantly do online tutoring. Some do it just a few days, but again, that gives students, if they can't physically be on campus or they don't have time to make it to the Learning Center here in Drain Hall, that they can jump online through the same website link that you are on or that you have there, to go ahead and connect. We'll have a student assistant on there that places them with the tutor to receive the same help that they would be able to get here in person. So supplemental instruction is the second program that I kind of mentioned. And again, we're within the same department. This is just a different method of providing peer assistance to your students. Some prefer to walk into the Learning Center with a specific question and say, help me with this. Other students, they like to kind of sit back and just re-listen to what was covered in class that week, and that's where supplemental instruction kind of kicks in. And so these are peer-led review sessions. Again, students who have taken those classes here at Texas Tech We hired them, they received an A. Most of them are recommended by their professors because of their mastery in the content of that class. We typically look at high DFW rate courses, which just means out of all the students who took a particular course, there was a high percentage that didn't do better than a C as their final grade. And so we see that as an opportunity to provide those students some resources outside of the classroom where maybe we can help and make a difference and move some of those grades up into the B, into the A level, or even to solidify some of those high grades as it is. So SI is predominantly given in 2 1.5-hour sessions per week per course. Some courses we have several SI leaders for, again, just because of the number of high enrollment. Chemistry 1307, another example, or same example as the tutoring, but also we provide several sessions for that. And so these are, again, students who received an A in the course. Not only do they just show up to host the review sessions, they audit the course again, just to make sure that they're up to date with all the relevant information and understand what that particular professor is emphasizing in class, in homework, and things like that. One benefit that a student receives by going to SI sessions is they get a packet at the very beginning that will provide them with practice problems, concept reinforcement, things like that, that they don't have to spend time working alone on their own coming up with those. They go to the session and they're provided with that, and the SI leader guides them through that practice. So you can kind of see how there are two different approaches for the same goal. Some students prefer one way, some students prefer the other. Sometimes it's just a matter of availability within the week and how much time they have. And so we encourage all students to try it. Even if they don't think they need it, it's a resource there, and give it a chance and see if it's something that's beneficial or not to them. Typically with SI, where it's easier to track final grades, and students who attend those regularly, and that's usually between 4 and 5 sessions during the entire semester, can raise their grades by a half letter to a full letter, which can make a pretty big difference in students' confidence in their GPA. So same thing there is you have a QR code that you can pull that up. If you lose all these links, the easiest way to find us is just Google TTU Learning Center or TTUSI. It's the very first link that pops up as well. Here's an example of what a weekly schedule offering, or at least partial from accounting through chemistry, would look like. And so if I had a student who was taking accounting 3304, they can see that Natalie is leading sessions that week. Tuesday, the location is in the College of Business in room 3, and then also a session on Thursday. They try to do Monday, Wednesdays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. In case you have a student who wants to attend a session Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, as you can see at the bottom there with Chemistry 1307, we try to give students, again, a variety of options to get that help that they need, or that extra outside of class time studying that's going to make the most impact besides going to class, obviously. And then location and hours for the Learning Center. We are located here in Drain Hall, room 164. We are pretty easy to find. As soon as you walk into that building, we're on the main floor, the biggest double doors there to walk in, and we have students who will take care that we have student assistants who will take care of getting your student put in with a tutor. You can see our hours there. We are open on weekends, Saturdays and Sundays. We will have that posted on our website as well. And so that gives students an option if they work during the week or after their classes, it gives us an opportunity, or gives them an opportunity to come see us as well. Some kind of jumping off points that if you want to talk to your student about using the Learning Center SI programs, or maybe some things that you hear from them, rather than just calling them or emailing or texting them and saying, hey, go to the Learning Center. If you hear your students say, I went to class, but I'm still confused, this might be a great point to jump in there and go, have you tried the Learning Center and SI? This is kind of what they're there for. Or I just want to bounce ideas off of someone. We see students all the time who have 4.0 GPAs who come in and they don't need help in the traditional sense. They just want to bounce ideas off of other students who have taken that class and done well. And sometimes that's all that they need. So if you go through this list, again, this is a recorded session, you can kind of go back and look through these. But if you hear these talking points, in communication with your student, this might be a good place to jump in there and suggest trying these services. How to help your student understand. Again, some students have a negative connotation about tutoring or going to these extra resource sessions, and it's the absolute opposite. We are here to help. We are here as another thing that students to make their lives a little bit easier. I tell parents and students that, rather than being holed up in your dorm room reading a chemistry book by yourself, which sounds amazing, right? Put yourself in a situation with other students who've already done it. They know what it takes and they can help you through that process. And then you're out and about connecting with campus and truly experience everything that Texas Tech has to offer. And so again, you can see kind of some of these points. If a student says, I can do this by myself, we typically hear that from students who were straight A students in high school, but then they get to college and it may be a little bit of a tougher transition because the expectations are different. So again, check on those points. If you hear any of your students having those, it might be an opportunity to explain to them how the Learning Center or SI fits in rather than what maybe they think it does. And if you're not comfortable with that, you're not sure, you can always send them my way. My information's on the website, and then we'll have it here on the slide at the end as well. And so now I'm going to send it over to Tracy with the Undergraduate Writing Center.
Thank you. So hello, my name is Tracy Givens. I'm the director of the Undergraduate Writing Center. So at the Undergraduate Writing Center, we are writing support for undergraduate students. And our primary function is to provide one-to-one writing consultations for undergraduate students. We have about 21 peer consultants. So your students would be working with their peers, and these consultants are trained. They have various backgrounds. They're from various different majors. We have architecture majors, we have engineering majors, we have English majors, and so on. And we are here to work with your student on any writing project that they might have in any of their classes. We also work with students on writing projects outside of their classes. So for example, maybe your student is working on a study abroad essay or a scholarship essay or something like that. The Undergraduate Writing Center is there to help. We work with students at any stage of the writing process. So from brainstorming to drafting to revision, we are here to help your student. Additionally, students who are working on research papers or students who are required to use specific sources in the paper, they can request to have a personal librarian in their consultation. We work closely with the university librarians here throughout the fall and the spring semesters. We have some on site here and at certain times, and when they're not here on site, they are available to us online. So this is a new aspect of our support that we've added within the last year, and students have really appreciated it. In addition to writing consultations, we also have writing groups. For honors college students, we have a thesis project writing group for honors college students who are working on their senior thesis. And we're looking into adding more writing groups. And a writing group is just It consists of about 8 to 10 students, and they help keep each other accountable, so to speak, on writing projects. They meet once a week, and they work on projects and encourage each other and cheer each other on. So writing groups are about accountability. And then, of course, on our website, we have several sources that we think might be resources that we think might be useful to your student to help them on their writing journeys. Next slide. So at the Undergraduate Writing Center, we have 3 types of consultations that students can choose from. We have in-person, where the student can come to us on site and work with a consultant. We have synchronous online, and this is where the student meets with a consultant online, but it's still face-to-face, it's still in real time. And we have asynchronous online, and this is where a student submits a draft with questions or concerns that they may have concerning that draft, and they receive written and audio-visual feedback. And it's really nice that students have these options to choose from, because some students just might prefer, they just really might need that in-person conversation with a consultant, while other students may prefer having that written feedback that they can continually refer to throughout their writing project. Next slide, please. Our locations and hours. So our main location is in Weeks Hall. Weeks Hall is located on the corner of University and Broadway. We're south of the big Texas Tech University seal, so that kind of helps students find us. But also we are on Google Maps and Apple Maps. And I know that students use those 2 resources a lot to locate us. We're open Monday through Thursday, 10 to 7, Friday, 10 to 4, Saturdays, 12:30 to 3 p.m. on in fall and spring semesters. And in addition to our main location, we have satellite locations. And what's meant by satellite locations, that just means that we have other locations spread out throughout campus. So one satellite location we have is at the University Library, and those hours are on Sundays and Tuesdays from 2 to 7 during the spring and during the fall and spring semesters. Then we have a satellite location for engineering students specifically at the ConocoPhillips Engineering Enrichment Center. And then we have another satellite location in the Architecture Library for architecture students only. And this is during the spring semester when architecture students are working on their big portfolio project. So we really think it's important that students see that we're making the effort to get out there. We want to meet students. We want to meet their needs. We want to go where they are. So our satellite locations are very much a part of what we do. So we hope you encourage your student to make an appointment with us. And here's a picture of our online appointment scheduler. And you can see on the left side are the names of our consultants. The times are at the top. So students can make appointments either using our online scheduler, which is on our website. That seems to be the most popular option that students use because it's so convenient. Students can call and make an appointment, and one of our student assistants will help them, or they can drop in and see us at Weeks Hall and make an appointment that way. We would like to note that we do ask that students schedule their own appointments. It might be tempting to do it for them, but we really want to encourage students we want them to feel empowered, and we want them to know how to go through this process and feel comfortable doing it. So we do encourage students make their own appointments with us. So talking to your student about the Undergraduate Writing Center. When do you recommend that they come visit us? Well, maybe you just they mention to you that they have an essay coming up. You might just remind them, well, remember, there's the Undergraduate Writing Center that's there to help you. Maybe the student is writing a research paper and they're being told they have to use a certain documentation style to cite the sources that they're using in that research paper. We're here for them. We're here to help them. Maybe your student is writing a type of paper that they've never written before. They're not quite sure how to approach it. Or maybe they've received comments from an instructor and they're not sure what to do with those comments. We are here to help them. And it can even be the case where the student has done really well on the assignment and the student wants to do better. We are here to help. Next slide. So how can you help your student understand what we do here at the Undergraduate Writing Center? There are some common assumptions that students might have about what we do here. One being that, if I go to the Writing Center, they can fix my paper. And while we are very eager and happy to help students and guide them in their writing process, we want students to maintain ownership of their own work. We want their own voice to stand out. So we're not going to take a pen and start marking up their paper, but we see our consultations as collaborative with students. So we'll have a conversation with them about their writing, answer any questions they have, address their concerns, point out any patterns that we're noticing in their writing and help them find ways to improve certain things about their writing. Another common misconception, another common assumption, sorry about that, might be that students don't need to use the UWC because ChatGPT or another AI tool can help them write their papers for them. And while we do see AI tools as tools that can help students in the writing process, and as we have equipped our consultants to discuss with students how they might use AI tools throughout the writing process, we only do so as it's appropriate to the type of writing they're doing and if they've received permission from their instructor. We primarily emphasize to students that their voice is what's important and their voice is what their instructors want to hear. So we really emphasize that. Another assumption, I'm going into STEM, so I don't need the UWC. We work with a lot of STEM students. STEM students do more writing than they think they're going to do. So we are more than happy to work with them. And the list goes on. So you can refer back to this list and the other list that we talked about before this one as you are talking to your students about the Undergraduate Writing Center and the support services that are available to them.
All right, well, I want to thank both of our presenters. Thank you, Tracy and Patrick. At this time, we would love to see what your questions are. So please use the Zoom Q&A feature, and we will answer some of your questions. One of the questions I saw pop up earlier that I would love for the entire group to hear the answer to is, what do these services cost? What's the cost of using the Learning Center or the Undergraduate Writing Center?
There are no additional costs for using the Undergraduate Writing Center. It's already included in fees, in tuition fees.
And that goes for the same for the Learning Center and SI programs. It's already included in the student services fee that somebody's already paying, and so students can use us one time or they can use us 1,000 times during the semester. We obviously encourage the latter, or as close as we can get there, to give your students the best opportunity to be academically successful.
Wonderful. I thought you all might enjoy the answer to that question. No additional cost for using these wonderful services. Any other questions? While you're thinking of it, I'm going to put on our screen a QR code that has a link to a brief survey about our webinar today, as well as the websites for each one of these resources that you heard from, the Learning Center, the Undergraduate Writing Center, and of course, our own office, Parent and Family Relations. Later on today, we will post the video recording of this session on our website. And we will also upload the slides that we used today so that you can refer back to those talking points to have with your students about each of these services. And we are just past 12:30, so we're going to stop the recording and turn off our cameras. But if you're still typing a question, don't worry. We'll hang on for a few minutes to get those questions answered. So thank you all for joining us today. Please do check back with us. We'll have more webinars later this summer and early fall, and hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you.